Okay, this video today is going out to the 12 tribes of Israel that's been scattered abroad. If you find this information useful, please subscribe, like, and share. Hey Zion, how's it going today? I'm going to be doing a quick video just to be talking about the case of reparations. The other day I was having a conversation with a group of people, and they was talking about how they think we should be getting reparations and whatnot, and also too with all the Black Lives Matter stuff going on, that this is the new rally cry for Black people, that all Black Lives Matter, and that we should be getting reparations. So I took the opposite side. Sure, I would like to get some money, but or from the government for what they owed us. But to be realistic, that's not going to happen. And their stance was that we'll get it if we just keep marching and protesting and keep this movement going. And I said, man, people have been marching for years. That's not how it works. So my stance was like, hell no, you're probably not going to get no reparations. At the best, you're probably going to get another $1,200. That's it. But it's not going to be anything close to what it was that you're supposed to get. I've seen some figures where they stated that true reparations for enslaved people from the transatlantic slave trade would probably be in the neighborhood of 30 to 35 trillion dollars. So they're not gonna do that. They give you 1,200 for a stimulus package, but that's about it. Enough to for most people to go buy some Jordans and some crab legs or something. That's pretty much what a lot of people did with the money anyway. Pay a couple of credit card bills all down, but I'll get off my soapbox on that. So let's look at the definition of what reparations are. What is reparations? So reparations, the making of amends for a wrong one has done by paying money to or otherwise helping those who have been wronged. Right. So reparations is defined as anything paid or done to make up for a wrongdoing, or the act of making up for a wrongdoing. An example of a reparation is money paid for an item broken in a store. So, this is the general definition of reparations. So, uh, I can't think of a group of people that have been more wronged than the uh, so-called black man. You know what I'm saying, or us Israelites. So, I'm going to get into this article that I found. It was written by a Harvard grad and a Harvard law professional. So let me pull it up. All right. So this this journal writing is called "Documenting the Cost of Slavery, Segregation, and Contemporary Racism: Why Reparations Are in Order for African Americans." So this is a published a scholarly article written in a journal. So I already highlighted some key points. So let's look at this. White privilege entails the array of many benefits and advantages inherited by each generation of those defined as white in the United States society. These racialized advantages are both material and symbolic, and they penetrate and encompass many interactions among whites and between whites and others over the course of lifetimes. White privilege is ubiquitous and embedded even where most whites cannot see it. It is the foundation of this society. It began in early white gangs from slavery and has persisted under legal segregation and contemporary racism. Acceptance of this system of white privilege and black disadvantages as normal has conferred advantages for whites now across some 15 generations. All right. So, I always have a problem with white people who say, oh, they did it on their own and they uh, made their own wealth. But, the majority of white people, they have a 15 generation head start. And that's just when they started the clock. It was probably way before that. So, let's go ahead and look at this, the transgenerational transmission of wealth. And this is another key aspect. Looking across nearly 400 years of colonial and United States history, one finds that the racial oppression targeting African Americans encompasses the intertemporal reproduction of ill-gotten wealth. Let's say that again, ill-gotten wealth, as well as the organizationalized structures and ideologies buttressing that wealth reproduction. Socially reproduced over time are racially structured institutions, such as the economic institutions, the the perpetuate that perpetuate the exploitation of black labor, and legal institutions protecting that exploitation. Each new generation of Americans has inherited this persisting framework of racial inequality and privilege. So, it's looking at how, their ill-gotten wealth and how that has transcended over time, which we all know. But we're gonna keep going into it. We don't have highlighted here. So, what section is this up under? This is up under. I think it's calculating the cost. So, this is another. They give a lot of different things as to why, how we've been discriminated against. So, let's look at this one here. Discriminatory practices in home sales and insurance have long limited the ability of black Americans to build housing equities that might be used to start a business or help children get a good education. Because of discrimination in securing mortgages for homes as well as for businesses, African Americans are losing an estimated $100 billion in equity over this current generation as compared to whites. Moreover, the last few generations that lost home equity doubtlessly totals many tens of billions of dollars. In addition, recent research indicates that the current white-black differential in assets is not the result of differences in saving rates. So when you look at this, the number one way that whites build their wealth is through home ownership, and also another one that's overlooked is insurance. Um, White people tend to overinsure themselves, so when somebody dies, versus just having like $100,000 policy, they'll have a $2 million policy, and then when that person dies, the family gets the money, and they once again they're building up a foundation. But we can't get those same type of loans or insurance policies because we're discriminated against. So another example of that is I'm sure everybody's familiar with it. It's called redlining, when they mark the red line saying don't let anybody, banks and real estate agents put a red line saying don't let anybody buy a house outside of this red line, inside of this red line. So those were the so-called good communities where they would discriminate against blacks for trying to buy those homes. They wouldn't give them loans. They would, deny their credit, whatever the case may be. So the property levels went up, and they forced the black people to only buy homes in certain neighborhoods where the property levels will stay down. So and that right there, in the 40s or 50s, if you bought your house for 20,000 and then you was able to sell it for 100,000 and then go move into another house and then do that again, versus in a black neighborhood you buy a house for 15,000 and you go to sell it, it's only worth 16,000, if that. So those are the type of things that this article is talking about as well. See what other key points they pull out. Um, while these focus groups accounts deal with recent events and damage done by whites who discriminate in the contemporary United States, these accounts resonate in many ways with the accounts of oppressions given by enslaved African Americans during the centuries of slavery, as well as with the accounts given by African Americans oppressed severely under legal segregation for its many decades. Similarly, psychological, physical, family, and community costs have burdened many millions of Americans, Afro Americans, from the 17th century to the present, and thus should be factored into any careful consideration of the reparations due to those who are currently both victims of continuing racial oppression and the descendants of those who were victims of similar racialized oppression. Indeed, one could well argue that reparations should begin with compensation to most African Americans living today for the racial oppression they have actually received over their lifetimes. So this is a very long article. Um, so let's look at this, and we're going to get into this. So precedents, reparations for victims of World War II. Significantly, the United States government has been very active in efforts to force the German government to make reparations for the victims of the Nazis' atrocities. All right, so we're gonna skip down a little bit to right here where it says German, later German governments have paid more than 60 billion in reparations to individuals victims of the Holocaust, as well as the nation of Israel on behalf of those victims, even though that nation did not exist at that time of the atrocities. The United States government has put similar pressure on Swiss banks, which recently offered 1.2 billion in compensation to Nazi victims to settle a class action lawsuit targeting questionable actions of Swiss banks and insurance companies during the Holocaust. In addition, the United States government has pressured at least 19 German corporations whose executives have admitted using slave labor during World War II to compensate those laborers and those families to the extent of several $billions. Man, let's back this up. First of all, they say they put pressure on Germany and Israel, so the Germans and the Ashkenazi Jews that are over there, the fake Jews that are over there, they got their reparations. They're still getting reparations, and then they say that they admitted to using slave labor for World War II. So I mean, we 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 were the biggest slaves. Why they not giving us no money? I mean, it doesn't even compare. So they got fake Israel getting money versus true Israel getting money, and they got the slaves that were a slave or in a concentration camp or whatever the case may be for a short period of time, and they're giving them reparations. Does not make sense to me, but that's just me. All right, and this is just more, examples of reparations. For example, in 1980, after a lengthy court battle, the United States Supreme Court awarded the Lakatas Sioux 122 million for more than 7 million acres taken illegally in the 1800s. Significantly, this cash reward was refused by the Lakota, who insisted that their sacred land was not for sale and that the land itself should be returned. So they offered them big money for their land, but they turned it down. So, this brings me to my next point. Um, let's go to the website here. Let's take a look at a couple of things. All right. So, if Germany atoned for the Holocaust, the U.S. can pay reparations for slavery. They already did that. So let's look at this. Calls for reparations in the U.S. are generally met with skepticism. What will reparations achieve, and who should receive them? Other countries have tackled these questions such as South Africa, established its Truth and Reconciliation Commission and paid reparations to the victims of apartheid. 8 years before, our United States apologized to 82,000 Japanese Americans unduly imprisoned during the World War II and paid them $20,000 each to compensate for their suffering. So, I mean, they've already done this before. So, it's not unfathomable that they could do it, but why won't they do it? It's the bigger question. So we were talking about land earlier when they talk about the Indian lands, but some people did under Abraham Lincoln or whatever that law was that gave each free person, black person, 40 acres and a mule. Everybody didn't get it, but some did get it. Surprisingly, 3 or 4 years ago, um, I was at a funeral. My aunt had died, and my great aunt called me to the side and she told me about. She said, "Don't let the white people take our land." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She said, "We have land in Louisiana, and we need to see what's going on with the land and see if we can get anything for it." So I was like, "What are you talking about?" So I she told me to ask one of my older cousins, and I went and asked him, and he said, "Okay, yeah, I've been looking at the stuff, but I haven't done anything with it." So I actually talked to him, and he gave me the lease and all the documents and stuff that he showed me, and this is the actual lease from this land that we had, that was given to uh, one of my great great grandmothers or something like that. But she married. She was married. The guy had the land. When they got divorced, she got half the land, which is 20 acres. So um, so let's see here. I'm gonna see if I can go through this. I don't want to lose my spot. But so really, the divorce decree was issued. So this lease is for to a company that bought the land, or they didn't buy it; they're leasing it from my family or whatever. Uh, so let's look at this. And this is how they do us. Subject to the terms of the rights of the vendee herein to cut and remove, recut and remove the said timber at the apparent rights herein otherwise set out shall remain in full force and effect for a period of 99 years from the date of this instrument, and on all land which vendee does not elect to release its rights as herein provided. So they're going to tie this land up. I think this document was signed by somebody in my family. I want to say uh, 1955. All right. So so this land is they so the people that bought this land is a company. They do um, they drill for oil. They use the timber and trees on the land to grow, cut, and sell it. And also, there's natural gas on this land. So, so the amount that's paid for this lease is for 99 years. There's no escalation clause or anything in this. I believe it's $500. So as we say, the south northern quarter of this contains 20 acres. All right. The price and consideration for which this sale of timber, wood, and other forest products now growing on the said property is made, and for which the lease and future operation and cutting privilege herein set out are granted, is the sum of $500, cash in hand paid. The receipt of hereby acknowledged and fully accepted, granted. So this It may not even be $500 a month. They may just got it for $500 in cash, the receipt of which is hereby acknowledged and fully acquainted. So it doesn't say $500 a month, just $500. All right, this is crazy. So like I said, it gets worse. So let's take a look at one of the paychecks that came out, one of the royalty checks. So this here is a royalty check um, from this company that does the drilling in the timber and the natural gas stuff. So this is the net amount of this check, and this check is for $6.42. Um, the date on here probably is from 2 or 3 years ago. So a couple of quarters, or maybe once a month, or once a quarter, you get a check for $6.42. That's the royalty check. So here's the date right here. I'm sorry. The check date is September the 20th, 2016. Wow. So that's kind of what we've been looking at. So as always, the white man is good at one thing, colonization of land and stealing the land. So that's nothing new under the sun. So why do these things happen? We kind of already know, but we have to kind of clear some of this stuff up with a couple of key factors. So let's take a look at a couple of scriptures that's gonna highlight what it is that we're couple of key scriptures that's going to highlight what it is that we are looking at here. So let's go to Deuteronomy. All right. So in Deuteronomy, God's telling us that, these are the curses. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. Let's get another quick one. Let's go to Proverbs. So the reason that God put it this way is that we as the nation of Israel, He doesn't want anybody getting the credit except from Him. He doesn't want no politician getting the credit. He doesn't want um, no congressman, no government. He wants to get the credit for bringing us out, which he will. So once we come out of this thing, we'll be praising Him, and if we pray to the Most High, He's gonna lead us out of the situation. So the next one we go to, let's look at Proverbs 22. I'm sorry, Proverbs 13 and 22. A good man leaveth an inheritance to his children, and the wealth of the sinner is laid up for the just. So this is a very key verse. The wealth of the sinner, or I like to put, the wealth of the heathen is laid up for the just, which is Israel. And there are a lot of scriptures that talk about what's going to happen in the future. So let's take a look at Exodus 12 and 35. All right. And this is how this is just a precursor. God is He declares the end from the beginning. So this is just an example of already what has happened and what's going to happen again on a greater scale. So let's look at this. And the children of Israel did according to the word of Moses, and they borrowed of the Egyptians jewels of silver and jewels of gold and raiment. And the Lord gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians, so that they lent unto them such things as they required, and they spoiled the Egyptians. So, that's another key verse that we like to get into. When we talk about how we're gonna, once we leave out of our captivity, we're gonna have great wealth. But this time, we won't have to. It won't be borrowed. It's gonna be given to us. All right. So Exodus 8, and the Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh's king of Egypt, and he pursued after the children of Israel, and the children of Israel went out with an high hand. So that just means that we had their spoils with us. So we're going to go into Isaiah. We're going to go with Isaiah chapter 60, verse 5 through 9. Then thou shalt see and flow together in thine heart, and shall fear, and be enlarged, because the abundance of the sea shall be converted unto thee. The forces of the Gentiles shall come unto thee. All right. Verse 6. The multitude of camels shall cover thee. The dromedaries of the Median and Ephah, all they from Sheba shall come. They shall bring gold and incense, and they shall show forth the praises of the Lord. The flocks of Kedar shall be gathered together unto thee. The rams of Nebaioth shall minister unto thee. They shall come up with acceptance on mine altar, and I will glorify the house of my glory. Who are these that fly as a cloud, and as the doves to their windows? Surely the isles shall wait for me, and the ships of Tarshish first, to bring thy sons from far, their silver and their gold with them, unto the name of the Lord their God, and to the Holy One of Israel, because he hath glorified thee. So those are powerful scriptures right there that identify how we're going to be coming out of this last captivity with the gold, the silver, the incense, which today means as wealth, all the precious stones and minerals that the heathen have accumulated. They're gonna give it to us, and they're gonna, however it is, the ships of Tarshish, where we come in ships, cruise ships, airplanes, whatever. However, the Most High is gonna see it to bring us out of this captivity and take us back to Israel. That's what's gonna happen. So this is very, very prophetic statements. So I think I got a couple more, then that's gonna be it. Let's go to Isaiah 6, Isaiah 61:16. But ye shall be named the priest of the Lord. Men shall call you the ministers of our God. Ye shall eat the riches of the Gentiles, and in their glory shall ye boast yourselves. Man, so with that, I'll close out. That's a very strong statement. I like to read that again. You shall eat the riches of the Gentiles, and in their glory shall ye boast yourselves. So Israel, man, don't be worried about no reparations. The little stuff they're gonna give us now, it's gonna pale to comparison what we're gonna have in the kingdom. The 1,000-year millennium and the kingdom of the Father. So with that being said, man, everybody have a blessed day, and I'm out.